My favorite thing to brush is Zen calligraphy. However, I think that learning the fundamentals first, like the 8 basic strokes, is important in order to be able to brush Zen calligraphy. My approach may be different than others. I know some calligraphers like to dive into Zen calligraphy before learning penmanship first, and other calligraphers like to brush calligraphy without having anything to do with Zen or learning anything about the Zen ways of meditation. This may be because sometimes Zen calligraphy may be a little too abstract, and its lack of care for correctness might be unappealing to some calligraphers that they take pride in the composition and the precision of the characters. Now, to me, calligraphy without Zen training may lack that sense of deep feeling that's tapped when someone digs deep into their heart. My favorite calligraphies are all Zen masters: Yamao Kateshu, Yamada Mumon, Shodo Harada, Omori Roshi, to name a few, are among my favorite. Their calligraphy is not only beautifully composed, but their work is full of energy and vitality. Zen and Shodo has a lot in common. It's one of the reasons why I can't differentiate them anymore. To me, Zen is Shodo and Shodo is Zen. Zen and Shodo have many similarities, but these 5 things that I'm going to mention in this video are the ones that I'm reminded of every day. Number 1 is that you need heart. It is not by accident that the kanji of kokoro, it is one of the most commonly brushed kanjis in all calligraphies. In both Zen and Shodo, heart is the main ingredient of the calligraphy. It's like salt in your food. If you don't put salt in your food, it's gonna be bland and mediocre and just meh. Zen without heart is just punishment to your body, and Shodo without heart is just a spilled ink on fine paper. Number 2 is that you need to reach deep into the essence of life, which is breath. One of the first things that you learn when you're meditating is to count your breath. And that is a good technique to kind of keep your mind occupied and not concentrate on random thoughts when you're meditating. Now, I don't count my breath when I'm doing Shodo, but I'm very conscious of my breath when I'm practicing calligraphy, because your energy is concentrated on your abdomen, what we call hara or tanden. Number 3 is that you need to tap into the state of no mind. The state of no mind is called mushin, and mushin is a famous Zen koan that asks, what is the mind? The goal of Zen meditation is not to empty your mind of thoughts, but to realize that there is no mind, and hence there are no thoughts. This realization cannot be experienced intellectually. You need to experience that. In Shodo, in order to produce a calligraphy that taps into that mushin state of mind, is to free yourself from the desire to brush anything at all. And when you brush a calligraphy that's empty of thought, a calligraphy that comes from your heart, then that is a calligraphy that comes from the state of no mind. Number 4 is that your struggles will help you cut through any illusions. The perception that meditation is easy and relaxing and performed in front of a breathtaking ocean view is laughable. Meditation is hard. You're going to experience anger, frustration, madness, and you need to cut through all that illusion. The moment you try to brush kanji for the first time, you're going to experience the same exact thing. You're going to experience anger, you're going to experience frustration, and you probably are not going to want to do it for long because it's hard. Any illusion that because you bought a fancy brush, paper, and ink, or you watch my videos and you're going to be able to brush amazing calligraphy are going to be destroyed the minute you try to brush calligraphy on a grid. Brushing calligraphy on a grid is difficult, it's rigid, it's strict, and it's going to require a lot of practice, so that is hard work. Overcoming these struggles is the path to liberation, because you will be faced with the reality of the world that life is hard work. Number 5 is that the rigidity of the practice is actually the path to liberation. The first thing that you're told when you start Zen meditation is don't move. Don't you dare move for the next 30 minutes or however long you're meditating. Don't wiggle, don't sneeze, don't scratch your nose. Learning how not to move is the most liberating experience that you can have. If you learn how not to move for 30 minutes every day, it will change your life. Calligraphy rules are very strict, especially when you're learning kaisho or block style in the beginning, because there is not a lot of wiggle room. The kanji needs to be brushed in a precise way, in a correct order, and we put you on a grid so that you don't get away from the parameters that we're pushing you through. So if the stroke is a little bit this way, a little bit of that way, it will be considered wrong. And that rigidity is what you need in order to liberate yourself, in order to do the more relaxed style of Zen calligraphy. Think of Shodo and Zen as peanut butter and jelly. By themselves, they're great and very satisfactory. But when you put them together in a sandwich, that's when you're like, holy shit, this is good.